in regard to the purchase of Mars Machpelah, as we mentioned yesterday, after Sarah passed away, Avram had his eye on the Mars Machpelah. He wanted to purchase it. Ephron was the one who owned it. And through an intermediary, the Bnei Ches were the representatives of the community. They went and they made a request on behalf of Avram. Ephron sends a message, consider it yours. It's a gift. Avram was not taking gifts. He's willing to pay. He says, consider it as if I gave the money already. That's how badly I want it. Ephron says, but you're so special. Avram says, under no circumstance. And eventually, finally, they negotiate it. He gives the money. And the Torah makes a point what he charged him for it. He charged him Arba Meos Kesef. Arba Meos Shekel Kesef over Lasocher. 400 silver coins over Lasocher. So Rashi cites two interpretations. What does over Lasocher mean? That they were either newly minted coins, that there's no market, financial market in the world that would not take these coins. Because in the olden days, how did you know the value of a coin? It was based on its mintage. Once a coin became worn, it was based on its weight. Once a coin became worn, people would have to weigh the coin to make sure how much it was based on the silver content, the weight of the silver. Ephron would not take only newly minted coins. He didn't want to have an issue that now he has this currency he has to deal with it being weighed. It should be newly minted. Another interpretation, he cites the Gemara, over la socha means that these shkolim, these silver coins, were worth multiples of the ordinary silver coin. And he charged him literally a king's ransom for this Marsa Machpelah, and Avram was happy to pay it. When the Torah tells us, Vayishkol Avram le'Ephron es hakesef, Pasuk Tezayin, Chav Gimel Tezayin, 23:16. It says Avram, he heeded Ephron's request. Vayishkol Avram le'Ephron es hakesef. He weighed out the silver, Asher dibe boznek neches, which was stated publicly, Arba Meir Shekel Kesef over La Socher. Now, every time Ephron is mentioned, this whole discussion here, Ephron is always mentioned Mole. The spelling is with the Vav. When the Torah tells us, when Avram weighed out the silver, Ephron is written with the Vav deleted. The Vav is not there. So Rashi over here says, Rashi says, why does the Torah delete the Vav in Ephron? Chosev Vav, v'sh'oma harbe v'afilu matlo oso. Because he promised him the world, and when it came to deliver, he didn't even deliver as much as an iota. Not only did he not give him, originally he says, consider it a gift. Not only did he not give it as a gift, he didn't even give him a discount, or he didn't give him fair market value, he charged him beyond market value. So we see from here, Rishoyim, Omrim Harbe, V'afilu Mate Enemosim. They say much, but they don't even deliver an iota of what they originally said. So that's why the Torah deletes the Vav, that it's a deficiency, to reveal the deficiency in Ephron. That what? That he's a Rasha. However, over here, if you take a look in the Balaturim, I know Avrami has the Mikros Gedolos Chumash. The Balaturim, Ephron, Chosek Siv, it's written Choser, deleted, B'gematria Ra Ayin. This resonates with Alan. Ra Ayin, evil eye.
400.
Tov, wait. Ole Tov. Ra'ayin, the numerical value is 400. Ole Tov Keneged Tov Shkolim Shalokach B'mora. Why did he ask for 400? Because that request, or that enormous amount of money which he asked, was an expression of his evil eye. So Ra'ayin, 400, that was an expression of his evil eye. So I was thinking, when I finished, Pasuk Yud Zayin, Vayokum stay Ephron Asher b'Machpelah Asher l'fnei Mamre. So Rashi explains what's the word Vayokum. It had risen. Either it means it was concluded financially, the deal was closed, or Yokum means it was elevated. But the word Vayokum stay Ephron, if you read the words backwards, the first letter of the word backwards, Ephron is ayin. Sin is the first letter in the second word. Vayokom is vav. It spells Esov. Esov. So the Baal Turm says, Rashi Tevos Behipoch, Esov. Reading the first letter of each word backwards, it's Esov. Remez le'Esov, sheyokom arier ala moro. That when Yaakov was buried by his family, who arrives? Esau arrives at the Moras Machpelah. He says, no, you already used one of the plots. You buried Leah. The remaining plot is for me. I will not allow it. And this is when Chusha ben Don took a club and he just decapitated Esau. He killed Esau. This is the time when his head rolled into the Moras Machpelah. But he came to contest, you have no right. That's Esau. Okay? Vayokom, it's alluding to Esau's contesting Yaakov's right to Moras Machpelah. But over there, we once mentioned, Rabbi Nabachi writes, when Yaakov sent Malochim, sent the angels to see what the nature of relationship was, and he hears Esau's coming against you, Arba Meus Ish, with 400 men. He's coming to wage war. So Rabbi Nabachi says, why 400? 400 is Bigmatria, and numerically is Ra'ayin. Esav was Ra'ayin. The root of Esav's hate for Yaakov was that evil eye. Now, what's Ra'ayin? There's Tovayin and there's Ra'ayin. If a person sees things correctly, one is not envious. One doesn't have that negative eye. It's only when you see it distorted, then a person has Ra'ayin. Now, it's interesting. The letter that's deleted from Ephron is which letter? Vav. It's cited in Halacha when you say Kriya Shema and you say Echod. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echod. What are you supposed to think when you say Echod? The Dalet is very large, a larger Dalet. You're supposed to think Dalet Ruchos, 4 directions, and you're supposed to think up and down. It's called Sheish Ksovos, 6 directions. Echod is 6 directions. That the totality of existence is Hashem. So what's deleted? If a person believes whatever he has, it's only because he's meant to have that, because Hashem is the benefactor, and you give him what you need, there's no basis for Ra'ayin. A person is only Ra'ayin only because he's lacking, he's deficient in the Vav. If he would have that Vav clear, he would have no Ra'ayin. He would understand everybody has what they're supposed to have. So Ephron believed what you have should be mine. The reason why your eye doesn't see correctly, it's distorted, you have a distorted view of reality, is only because you're deficient in that Vav. If that Vav would be clear to you, a person would have no envy, would have no negative feeling, and feel what the other person has should be his. Now, what was the basis for Esav to come against Yaakov to destroy him? Because he felt he took the birthright which he had no right to. That's the reason why he came against Yaakov. But if he would have understood who he was and who Yaakov was, he would have understood he's the one who's qualified and it's appropriately to be his. He has no relevance to it. But because he didn't understand, the Vav didn't exist in his life. As he said, Les din v'les dayon. There's no judgment, there's no judge. Now he's coming with 400 men. You have no right to take what was rightfully mine. I'm the firstborn. My father loves me. You duped, you fooled, deceived us, and therefore so the 400 is rooted in the deficiency of the Vav. The Vav is deleted. We had said that the Umas Olam at Sinai, the reason why the Jews did Avodah Zarah, we failed with the Egel, is that since it was a public event, there was Ayin Hara. They gave Klaus an Ayin Hara, evil eye, and therefore that caused us to fail with the Chet Egel. That's what we were challenged with that. So if you remember, we said that in the name of the Ibn Ezra, that he explained the lav in the Asaras Dibros, you have lo sachmod. You shouldn't have designs on your fellow's wife, his property, his donkey, anything else. So the question which is asked, any other negative commandment we can control. not to steal, not to harm, not to whatever, maybe not to violate Shabbos, not to eat non-kosher. I mean, envy is something you feel. You feel you should have what someone else. How do you control that? That you should not be envious. So he explains it with a mashal, with an allegory. He says, you have a princess, and she has every quality, beauty, the attributes, poised. The commoner is not jealous of the prince, that the princess is not available to them. Because they understand it's out of their realm of life. It's not for them. It's only something which is within their sphere, within their peer group, and one of the peers has something which he wants, then there's envy. Then there's ayin hara. Because I feel what he has should be mine, because he's no better than I am. The prince, he's another level. Therefore, what's appropriate for the prince is not appropriate for me, who has no relevance to me. So he gives an example. Does anybody envy a bird, that a bird's able to fly? You understand? You're not a bird, you don't fly. You're not a prince. The princess has no relevance to you. But the peer, where that woman is available to him, or he has possessions, which I feel he's no different than I am, so why don't I have it? So what's lacking? But if a person has emunah, and you understand you only get what you're supposed to have, because every person has a mission, so what's meant to be his is his, what's meant to be yours is yours. And if you're able to internalize that reality, there's no envy. That's the Ibn Ezra. That's how a person is able to deal with this lo sachman issue. It's all rooted in one's emunah and why you exist and what's the value of anything that you have in life. That's the famous Ibn Ezra. So what I had said then, that what is the claim against Amalek? Hashem says, they should be obliterated. So Rashi cites Chazal, because after the splitting of the sea, the world stood in and trembled in our presence. This nomad band of people attacked us. So it's like the unstable person who jumps into a scalding bath and gets burnt. Once he goes into that bath, he cools it down for everyone. Initially, when Klal Yisrael received the Torah at Sinai, what did the world think? Initially, if we wouldn't have been attacked. Of course, we are the prince, and therefore, being the prince, we received the Torah. They have no relevance to that. But what did Amalek do when they attacked us? They brought us to a level we're equal. They are no different than we are. There's nothing to be fearful of, and that we are attacked. So we brought down to a peer level. Once you brought to a peer level, now Hashem gives us the Torah and doesn't give it to the world, what happens? There's envy. And that's why Chazal say, why did the Jews do the Egel? Because ayin hara. We received an ayin hara from the nations of the world. But if we wouldn't have been attacked, what would have been? We would have never done the Egel. So now, if Klal Yisrael wouldn't have done the Egel, what would have been achieved at that moment? The Gemara said when we studied in Avodah Zarah, we reverted back to pre-Adam, the sin of Adam. We would have lived forever. The world would have come to its shleimus, to its level of perfection. So why did the world not come to its level of perfection? Because the Jews did the Egel. But why did we do the Egel? Because ayin ra. But why was the ayin ra? Because Amalek reduced us from the princely level to the peer level. Once we're at peer level, so then the issue is, why did they receive it? Why don't we receive it? But again, it's that distorted eye. If the eye is a healthy eye, you have an ayin tov, you see it right. If you have the envy, your eye is distorted and you don't see it right.